Hello friends, it's me, Megan.
And I'm Jessie. Megan, will you help me? I want to build a dojo for my koala karate squad action figures.
Sure, Jessie, I would love to help.
Thanks.
Can I tell you and our friends today's Bible story before we get started though?
Sure.
Okay, today's Bible story is actually about building. Solomon built something, a temple for God.
Cool.
And just like you need my help, Solomon needed help to build God's temple too. Many builders with different skills worked on the temple. Listen to the story. Solomon was the king of Israel. God made Solomon very wise. One day, Solomon began to build a temple for God. Ever since God saved the Israelites from Egypt, God had been with them in a tent. Now, God let Solomon build him a temple. Building a temple was a big job. Many builders worked on the temple. They cut cedar logs and big stone blocks. They worked hard and laid the bottom of the temple. Then, they built the outside of the temple. God made a promise to Solomon. If you obey me and do what I say, I will keep the promise I made to your father David. I will live among the Israelites, and I will not leave my people. The builders worked for 7 years, and they did a very good job. The temple had many rooms, and inside the temple were wood panels with flowers carved on them. King Solomon covered everything inside the temple with pure gold. He hired some men to make bronze furniture for the temple, like bronze bowls for holding water. Finally, the temple was ready. Solomon gathered the leaders of Israel. As the priests moved the ark into the temple, King Solomon and the leaders sacrificed sheep and cattle to God. When the priests came out of the temple, a cloud filled it up. God's glory was in the cloud. Solomon said, "Praise God! God promised David that his son would build a temple, and God kept his promise." Solomon stretched out his hands and prayed, "There is no God like you." Then Solomon encouraged God's people to love God and to do what he says. When the people went home, they were happy because God had been so good to them. The temple was a place where God was with his people. The people could go there to make sacrifices and worship God. Today, when we trust in Jesus, he forgives us and is always with us, ready to guide and help us.